exercise 7.3 part 1. So hopefully you guys have all done the reading for 7.3 and you've also gone over my lecture notes for this section. So these are our new ones right down here. And the only difference between rules of inference and rules of replacement is that the rules of inference you actually are deriving something. So in other words, that's why you always get this dotted line here. So given this premise and this premise, you get this. Okay, the rules of replacement work a little differently. So everything on one side can replace with everything on the other side and vice versa. So everything over here on this side is equivalent to everything over here on this side. Okay, so it's a little bit different, but it's the same process. You're still looking for patterns, and patterns will always be the key to doing proofs really well. Okay, so we'll go through part 1 and part 2. Not really slow though. Hopefully you guys are getting the hang of these by now since you've already done 7.1 and 7.2. The idea is you're just looking for the pattern. So looking at the first one, they want us to do De Morgan. So if we look at De Morgan, we see we want something to look like either the left or the right hand side. Okay, so the key here is with De Morgan, it only works with the dot or a wedge. And if you'll notice, you always flip them. So the dot here becomes a wedge and the wedge here becomes the dot. So this is most likely what you guys refer to as distributing the negation, which is not technically what we're doing, but I understand you guys understand that lingo better from math, so that's perfectly fine. So if you look at the first one here, it's not going to work. You cannot do anything with that negation on the outside as long as that horseshoe's there, at least not with De Morgan. We will have a rule later on, actually literally the next section, and then we'll figure out how to do that. This next one, that one looks very promising because it does look like one side of De Morgan, okay? So what we're going to do is we'll distribute the negation, so we'll have a knot in, and then the wedge turns to a dot, and then we'll have a knot G, and then we're going to use line 2, and we'll use De Morgan. Okay, so this next one, they want us to use distribution. So let's just look at distribution. That is right here. If you'll notice, there's a dot, and then there's a wedge, or there's a wedge, and then there's a dot. So let's go back over here. This first one's not going to work. It's 2 horseshoes. Second one's not going to work. There's a horseshoe in there. Third one, this one could work. So we have a dot first. So we're looking at this first one right here, okay? So what we're going to end up with is S dot T, and then put parentheses around there. Then we'll have our wedge, and then we're going to have the repetition of the S, but this time with the U. And we're just using line 3. Okay, so for the third one, they want us to do association. So if we look at association right here, we see it's either all horseshoes like this top one, or it's all dots like the second one. So let's go back over here. Oh, first one's looking pretty good, right? Let's put a check mark next to that one. It's got a wedge, looks nice. Second one's got a dot with a horseshoe, not gonna be able to work it. Got a dot with a wedge, not gonna work for association. However, it could have worked up here for distribution. But they want us to use association, so we're down to line 1. So the only thing you're doing here is you're rearranging where your parentheses are. Okay, and then again, you're just using 1. Okay, so for 4, now we're going to be doing commutation. So we're looking right here. So commutation, or comm, only works with a wedge or a dot. So let's go back. First one, not a possibility. You can't switch those around. Remember, antecedent and consequent, not going to work. Triple bar, not going to work. We're down to this one. And all you do is literally, you're just switching them around. And next section, you'll find out why we actually need this. Okay, so there is part 1 for 7.3. Next video, we'll do part 2.